My name is Aminu, and I was 17 years old when everything changed. It was the first week of March, and I remember the sun had just begun to rise. That morning, I was told that my life would no longer belong to me, that I would marry my cousin, a choice that had been made for me long before I even knew what love or life truly meant. I felt my heart freeze, my hands shake, and a heavy weight settle on my chest. Before this day, my life had been ordinary in the eyes of my family. I was born into a strict Muslim household. My father was a respected man in our town, and my mother worked quietly at home, raising me and my siblings with rules that left no room for questions. I went to the local school, learned what was necessary, and prayed because everyone around me prayed. Life was safe, predictable, and controlled. But safety disappeared the day I became a prisoner of tradition. Please comment below where you are watching from. I want us to connect, to lift one another in prayer, and to walk together even when the world feels heavy. The days that followed were unbearable. I was watched constantly. My family told me I must obey, and even small resistance brought anger, whispers, and sometimes slaps. I was not allowed to leave the house freely. I had to wear the clothes they chose, speak the words they wanted, and hide every tear I shed. My cousins, who were once my friends, now looked at me with expectation and judgment. The house felt smaller, the walls closer, and my heart cried silently for a freedom I could not name. I remember one evening when I tried to refuse. He, my father, showed me the seriousness of my duty, and she, my mother, revealed the fear they had of dishonoring the family. Every glance, every word, every step I took felt like walking on thin ice. My food tasted like ash. My prayers felt empty. Even the night, which once comforted me, became a place of fear, because sleep brought dreams of the life I would lose forever. School became a place of tension. Friends noticed I had changed, but I could not tell them why. Teachers saw me distracted, but the rules of my home forced silence. Every step outside the house was a reminder that I was trapped, and every moment inside was filled with fear, shame, and the silent scream of a boy whose life had been stolen before it began. The weight of forced marriage was not just in the wedding itself, it was in every second before it, in every word I was forced to hear, in every glance that reminded me I had no choice. I felt small, worthless, and invisible. I wanted to disappear. I wanted someone to save me, though I did not yet know who that someone could be. From that day, my life changed completely. I could no longer go outside freely. My friends tried to speak to me at school, but I had to hide my sadness. I walked with my head down, my eyes searching the floor, because every glance from my family reminded me that I belonged to them, not myself. The persecution was not just words, it was in the small things that made me feel small and weak. He, my father, made me stand for hours, showing me that disobedience would bring shame. She, my mother, revealed the fear in her eyes and the weight of family honor, making me understand that no love or comfort was allowed for me. Every time I ate, I was watched. Every step I took, someone followed. Every sigh I let escape was punished with anger or a warning. Nighttime brought no relief. The room that once felt safe now felt like a cage. He, my father, checked my door and reminded me silently that I belonged to someone else. She, my mother, showed me the strictness of tradition, and I learned that crying alone was dangerous. I lay awake, my heart pounding, wishing for a door that could open into freedom, but no door existed. Even school became a battlefield. Teachers noticed my sadness, but they could not see the chains around my life. Friends asked why I seemed so broken, and I had to hide the tears that wanted to spill. I wanted to scream, but the punishment that followed even small disobedience kept my voice locked inside. I felt invisible, trapped between the life I was forced to live and the boy I once was. The worst moments were when he, my father, showed me what the future would look like. Family gatherings became tests. My cousin, who I had once played with as a child, now looked at me with eyes filled with expectation. Every meal, every prayer, every greeting reminded me that the life I dreamed of, school, friends, freedom, was slipping farther away. I learned that persecution is not just pain from outside, it is the silent fear, the shame, the small moments that break your heart day by day. I felt alone in a house full of people. I felt small in a world that demanded I obey. And I felt hopeless in a life that had been stolen before I even understood what it meant to choose. I began thinking about Jesus secretly. I whispered to him in my heart because speaking aloud was dangerous. He became my hidden friend, my secret strength. Every day I tried to obey my family, hide my fear, and survive the life they forced me to live. But every night I prayed in silence, asking Jesus to be near me, to give me courage, to remind me that I was not alone. The persecution did not stop. He, my father, continued to watch me closely. She, my mother, reminded me that my duty was to obey. The walls of the house became tighter. I could not laugh freely. I could not speak my mind. I could not even dream without fear of punishment. But even in that darkness, I began to feel a spark I had never felt before. Jesus showed me that my heart mattered more than tradition. Some days were harder than others. My cousin tried to control me, showing me that my life belonged to him one day. Friends noticed my sadness, but I could not tell them the truth. I walked carefully, prayed secretly, and clung to the hope that Jesus was listening. Sometimes I cried so much that I thought my heart would break, but the thought of Jesus gave me the tiniest light. I started to understand that persecution was not just in what people did, it was in the fear, the shame, and the silence that crushed my spirit. But Jesus reminded me that even the smallest faith could grow, even in a heart that felt trapped. He became the friend who never left, the protector I could not see, and the hope that whispered, "You are not alone." I realized that my life, though stolen, could still have meaning. My suffering, though heavy, could be the place where hope begins. And in that quiet, rainy night, I felt a courage I had never known, the courage to believe that one day Jesus could save me from this life that felt like a prison. Some moments feel impossible to survive, and some nights seem too long to wait for the sun. But even in the darkest prison, a light can come that no wall can hold. Stay with me, because what I am about to tell you will show how a heart trapped in fear found freedom in Jesus. It was a hot afternoon in May, and the house felt smaller than ever. Every step I took was watched. Every glance from my family reminded me that I had no choice. He, my father, showed me the rules again, making it clear that obedience was my only path. She, my mother, revealed her worry, yet she could not help me. Even my cousin, whose hand I would one day be forced to take, watched me as if I had no voice. But something inside me had changed. I remembered the secret prayers I whispered to Jesus, the nights I cried in silence, the hope that he showed me even when everyone else turned away. That afternoon, I made a decision in my heart. I realized that obeying God mattered more than obeying anyone else. I chose to believe in Jesus, even if it meant losing everything I had. The persecution grew harder. He, my father, showed me the anger that comes when a child refuses tradition. She, my mother, revealed the fear that comes when a family feels dishonored. My cousin, confused and hurt, tried to pull me back, to remind me that the world expected my submission. Every moment became a test of courage, every breath felt heavy with shame and fear. But I clung to Jesus. I remembered that He had died so that I could be free, even if the world tried to trap me. I prayed quietly, and I felt a peace no one could take away. He, my father, punished me. She, my mother, tried to reason, but Jesus gave me a strength that no fear could destroy. Slowly, day by day, I began to feel that I could live for Him even if the cost was great. Finally, the day came when I left that house in spirit, even if my feet remained inside. I knew that following Jesus meant walking in truth, even when it hurt, even when I was rejected, even when my family could not understand. I felt light for the first time. I felt free. I felt alive. Jesus had saved me from a life that was stolen before I could even choose. To all Christians reading or listening, I want to admonish you to pray. Pray for those who are persecuted for their faith. Pray for those who are trapped in darkness, in fear, in families or cultures that force them into lives they do not want. And if you have not yet opened your heart to Jesus, I encourage you to do it now. Simple salvation prayer. Jesus, I believe you died for my sins and rose to give me life. Please forgive me. Come into my heart and save me. Help me to follow you every day. Amen. Remember, persecution may crush the body, but faith in Jesus can free the soul. No wall, no fear, no tradition, and no threat can take away the hope and courage He gives to those who choose Him.